And so Unacknowledged is all about the sort of nuts and bolts of disclosure and drawing from the Disclosure Project archives, basically that, you know, UFOs and ETs are real and that there has been a government cover-up. And, you know, the film is basically broken into 3 parts, sort of the what, the how, and the why. How could you possibly keep this a secret? And why would they keep it a secret? But also, why is this issue even relevant to the average person's life? Most people believe that UFOs are real, but they don't think it's relevant to how they live their everyday lives. You know, most people are focused on putting food on the table, college, that kind of stuff. So Unacknowledged was about tackling, you know, it was about checking those boxes. And we very deliberately did not include anything about consciousness or the protocols, because this first film needed to really be a crash course in the basics. I called it disclosure potty training. And
I love that.
yeah, that's what it was. And so, you know, but that was always done that the next film, which is this film we're about to drop in a few days, would be sort of that deeper conversation about, okay, Unacknowledged kind of established the problem, now what is the solution?
Well, Michael, you have a very coherent way of thinking, and I know that there's a lot of influence in this film of the way you think and the way you organize it. Has it been a while that you've been working in this medium?
Yeah, I've been making documentaries since I was 11 years old, you know, not very good ones for a very long time. But cut my teeth on Unacknowledged, and Close Encounters is a superior film to that one. So I learned a lot doing Unacknowledged. And the Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind was a much more difficult film to make, because to understand the CE5 phenomenon and experience, you have to understand like 17 other things first and then put them all together at the end. So it was a challenge to figure out, well, how do we take people from, you know, assuming they know nothing, and we take them step by step where each one builds upon the last, and then finally land on, you know, people going outside and meditating and having these profound contact experiences with extraterrestrials. You know, you can't open on that. You can't lead with that. And previous attempts to tackle this subject matter, and in my opinion, and in the studio's opinion, and in Dr. Greer's opinion, it was really those were failed attempts, because everyone was just trying to open on people in the desert meditating to contact ETs, and much to hit people with who are not already deeply versed in this stuff. So, you know, this is a long documentary. It's 2 hours long, but we really assume that you know nothing, and we take you step by step. And I'm very happy that, you know, you watched it and you told me that it was coherent, because that I'm most concerned about was making sure that this thing made sense.
Yeah, I want to say a couple of things about this film, because I've seen everyone's film, and you know, I was a consultant on Sirius and on the Unacknowledged, because I suggested Danny Sheehan and so forth and everything, and I've always worked with Dr. Greer, and I support
Yep.
Dr. Greer 1,000%. But what I want to say about this film, because it left me an impression of, it's probably one of the best films I've ever seen, is that the coherence starts from logic. These are not a bunch of new age people that go into the, into the desert to call down UFOs. What it starts with is the government cover-up, the idea that the government knows things that they are not willing to release based on economy, based on a free energy, based on secret programs and so forth. So you start with the coherence of talking about the way the government operates in the beginning. And then all at once, you do something pretty amazing. You are able to explain quantum entanglement for the layman like me and quantum physics, how you can send a signal and it can be received. And you start with the actual physics, the actual atoms, the actual idea that it can be done. And then what happens is that the people that have the intention get into that quantum field that you just explained, because it's science. So you went from government to science to what happens if you really use that science. And then that is the field that they're using. So you guys are all in the same field. So something has to happen. And what's beautiful about the film, Michael, is all the film footage of the UFOs that you were able to put in there, because that was not CGI. Those are years of Dr. Greer's seminars in Florida, in Joshua Tree. So all of that footage where something happens, and I've been on 3 of them with him, and something always happened. Because the protocols work, is like for people, there's hope that they can have contact, but it's not, you know, like a crazy bunch of people in the desert. It is sequential, coherent, quantum physics. This is how it works. You want to get into consciousness, this is what you can do. So I don't know if I explained it right, but that's what I got out of the film.
Yeah, you explained it beautifully, and I'm really happy that it came across that way.